Hello, 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 and welcome to another edition of the Big Freakin' Friday show on the College Football Mafia Network. I'm your host, Nathan Bomber Brown. With me are my co-hosts and partners in crime, as we call that. That would be Moen and Wild Ute. How you guys doing today?
Hey, how's it going?
Doing
Doing,
excellent.
I'm
Doing
doing
excellent.
great. Yeah, I had a good week. As we get really into the meat of the off season, news keeps popping left and right. Today we're going to cover from top to bottom this idea of North Carolina blue and what does that look like? How is that active? And what's going to happen for the ACC? We had the settlement with ESPN. It came out a few weeks ago. Everybody thought that would just miraculously fix everything, and really all it did was put wallpaper over some severe cuts in the wall, and we'll have to see where that trains out. So buckle up. We're going to be here for at least an hour and a half. We appreciate everybody for watching. Make sure you follow all of us on Twitter. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube and on Twitter. Make sure you turn on those notifications. It really matters, so you know when we tweet and also when we are doing shows. All right, Moen, I'm going to start with you first tonight. What are your first thoughts about this? And we can refer directly to it. David McKenzie has gone out and actually put a lawsuit together, another one, against North Carolina open records laws. We'll dive into that in detail a little bit. What are your first thoughts when you see something like that?
Sometimes you get caught with your hand in the cookie jar. Sometimes you're try and be a little too smart for everybody in the room. And I think that's what happened with North Carolina. But you can't blame them for doing their due diligence. North Carolina's got to do what's best for North Carolina. They can't worry about the rest of the ACC at this point.
Ute, what do you think? And
I
please
100% agree.
extrapolate, because I know you're right on top of it.
Well, if you're North Carolina, it'd be foolish not to do your due diligence, right? And we're going to get a lot more into that. Like, this is a really important live show, actually, breaking down like the soul of the ACC here with North Carolina, really what's going on internally, the evidence that if they're not looking to get out of the ACC or in a position for a better conference for more financial payouts, what's the ramifications on the ACC? What are the realignment options for North Carolina? This is just the tip of the iceberg. This is so big and everything. And like, yeah, if you're UNC and you're a stakeholder at UNC, you have to be doing the due diligence to look, see what options are out there. 100%.
And we know they've been doing that, right? For a couple of years now in the open, we've understood that North Carolina was going to pursue other options. But as I said in my tweet today, and I'll bring that up here in just a second, just because the ESPN thing got settled 3 weeks ago, there were people that were thinking, oh, a settlement is coming right around the corner for the rest of the ACC and the mess, the lawsuits, everything else, Clemson and Florida State. And it's simply not the case.
That's right. Go ahead, Mon.
Yeah, I was going to say, again, we're kind of in a wait and see pattern yet. But this is interesting from North Carolina. They have not filed anything in court yet. Very interesting that they're looking at ways to break the gore, possible penalties from leaving North Carolina State behind, possible journeys to new, richer lands like the Big Ten and the SEC. Very interesting stuff. And the fact that you have to code name it, and it's code name Carolina Blue,
right,
tells you all you need to know.
So let me bring up the tweet that sort of started the firestorm today. By the way, I appreciate everybody that's interacted with this tweet today. It was a lot of fun. I've had a good time having some conversations with people about it. But this is what I just got tired of, all the white noise that we're seeing out there from people that are just flat out just making stuff up. They're not doing I think or I know. They're saying this is going to happen. I just got tired of it. So that's where this tweet came from. So Carolina Blue, that's the code name Moen was just talking about, is doing their due diligence. The ACC is still all together, which is absolutely true. So no unilateral moves are possible anyway. So, like, what's the big deal, right? What happened to all those, I say stands, that's my fun word for people that don't know what they're doing, that claim Seminoles are going to drop their lawsuit immediately. And I immediately I'd take sort of in parentheses is maybe even more than quotes, because who knows what the timing would that that would be. But they did intimate that it was going to be ending relatively soon. They were going to drop those lawsuits. That was never going to happen, which has always been my contention. The ACC is still broken edifice until some type of settlement is announced with FSU Clemson, which I still do not believe is anywhere close to happening. And that caught all of our Florida State fans, not all of them. We have a bunch that I didn't put on the tweet, but I think it's remarkable that anybody would look at this situation and just say, yeah, it's just a natural order of things. This is just the next progression. When really North Carolina is doing I like the idea of due diligence, right? I think that's really important.
You have to do due diligence. Like if you don't, it's irresponsible, right? Like if we were actually trustees at North Carolina, if we didn't do that, we wouldn't be serving North Carolina properly. At the end of the day, North Carolina is its own entity. Like the ACC is basically the company it works for. But like you have to take care of your own house first. And like folks, a lot of the folks in our community saw the payout video and stuff between ACC and Big 12 that lays out the bare bones payouts. Pretty similar between ACC and the Big 12 with some performance bonuses and stuff considered for the ACC. But you need to make more money. Every Big 12 and ACC team needs to be asking that question. How can we make more money? How can we compete at the highest level with the SEC and the Big 10? And North Carolina has options, guys. They have options. And so they have to examine that. What are the avenues to getting to those options? What are the political hurdles? There's a lot. But you just need to do it. You need to go and look under every stone for options here, because the ACC in the long term for North Carolina is probably just not a sustainable thing.
Moen?
Yeah, well, you talk about due diligence. $620,000 of due diligence was performed here. And the main crux of the argument that David McKenzie has filed against UNC is that there was creative bookkeeping, we will put it that way.
That's a good way to put it, yeah.
To try and obfuscate kind of what they were doing here. Which, I mean, I don't blame North Carolina for doing this. I think everybody in the ACC needs to be doing this. The ACC is still an unstable conference. Everybody has to be looking at their options and where they're going to or where they're going to be at 5, 6, 7 years down the road. I don't think that's a wrong thing to do. But, again, you can't get past some of these lawyers, man. You are a public institution. You have to be very clear and upfront with what you are doing with the money.
So let's get into the details of the actual lawsuit. Let me bring that up. So we were able to find this open records request. Moen was able to track this down. We were able to get it from the public clerks. Is that how you tracked it down, Moen? This
is the clerk of courts of Superior Court of Orange County, North Carolina.
Okay. All right. And it's, I don't even know how many, I didn't make it to the bottom of the document, so I'm not sure total number of pages, but I mean, there's just some basic things in here. Let's just jump ahead right into the meat of what the lawsuit is from. So David McKenzie, friend of the show, somebody that I've really come to rely on some legal issues that certainly deal in the ACC. These are some of the provisions and what he's pursuing. The public records law also provides that, and then it gives a piece. No request to inspect, examine, or obtain copies of public records shall be denied on the grounds that confidential information is commingled with the requested non-confidential information. If it is necessary to separate confidential information from non-confidential information, or to permit the inspection, examination, or copying of the public records, the public agency shall bear the costs of such separation. And then he put in here, there's a precedent that we don't need to get into because we're not lawyers. And then this is the actual facts of the thing. I want to read this up because this example number one is probably his biggest argument. On January 2nd, 2025, plaintiff David McKenzie submitted a public records request to the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill seeking the following. And by the way, he incurs all these costs. He's a lawyer. He's putting in the time and money and energy to get this done. So nobody's doing this for free. All billing documents, including any and all time entries from the law firms Skadden, Arps, Slate, Meager, and Flom. Boy, to be a
What
lawyer.
a
That's
law
crazy.
firm.
From September 1st, 2022 to
Mm.
present. So he's going back a little over 2 years, 2.5 years almost. This request shall be interpreted to include any emails related to any billing documents and or time entries, including but not limited to attachments to or from Skaden. That's what first example. So first, let's dive into that one. And this question goes to you. You're sitting at the University of Utah, and you want to keep something from the Big 12, right?
Hmm.
And I don't personally know Utah's records laws, but I assume they're pretty open. You want to disguise what you're actually talking about. So your invoices are changed. You go through, and instead of having detailed invoices, you do what they did, which is go to a one-pager. Basically said, yes, we did consulting, and that's all it is. There's no detail at all. Consulting Skaden at all. What are you doing there? And is it a public priority to actually declare what that work is?
It's so tricky. If this were a private entity and stuff, there's no way you'd get this information. But since North Carolina is a public institution and everything, you can get access to it. Yeah, it's definitely some tricky, nefarious stuff though. Sometimes when looking at this stuff and like, so you get a line item with like a bunch of expenses, right, on the invoice and stuff. It doesn't break it out, like you're saying, Bomber. Like, is that something that's sketchy or is that normal? I would say that's a bit irregular based on my experience and everything. If it's going to be some type of like blanket statement, like what's going on here though? That's the bigger question. Really, is this some type of realignment related item, right? Isn't that what everybody wants to know? Is that what they're hiding?
Yeah.
And that's really what the discussion is about. Like, hey, so can we get more information showing and tying this directly to a realignment move or thought process and stuff from the lawsuit?
Very good. Moen, you have any other thoughts about how this first? Let's just talk about example one.
Oh, what a tangled web we weave when first we practice to deceive.
Ooh, baby. I love
Nice.
old sayings. They're my favorite.
This is beautiful. They are obviously using a law firm and trying to circumnavigate certain topics by just giving them general titles, which you will see moving forward. He wants to know all the billing, so you can see words, but they're not billing this as exactly what it is.
No, they're not.
They are trying to obfuscate it. So
They are.
this is basically North Carolina, or certain assets within the North Carolina program, trying to obfuscate and do little realignment stuff on the down low.
And I would let's set the premise first. David McKenzie is a very successful lawyer. If you look up his law firm in Carolina, he's somebody. So what this tells me is somebody leaked these meetings to him, at least the content of some of the meetings. And the only way that he could find out what the details were was to put in this open records request. But the minute he submits the open records request, they go to their chief legal counsel and basically say, this guy's asking for everything. How can we give him everything without giving him anything? And he says, okay, send me an email with what you want to send, and just send a one-page reply for every meeting or every time we got together or did consulting, and then send that back out with a generic title. Isn't that kind of skeevy? I think like it what you're doing,
It's
you
smart.
shouldn't be hiding.
It's smart. Like, yeah, I mean, that's exactly how you protect yourself.
I don't know. I don't like it. Just be open and honest. I don't know why UNC has to hide the fact that they want to go to that's the bigger question I have with all this is why hide the fact?
So, hey Nate, just rehash this. Why is this lawsuit again happening? Like, why is McKenzie suing? What's he wanting? What's the whole idea of this lawsuit?
Well, his concern is the ACC loses their big brands, and as such, the ACC is diminished.
Sure.
And the schools that he cares about, which are in North Carolina, Wake, he cares about Duke, he cares about North Carolina State, and then the ACC larger, he doesn't want that to go away. He would like that to stay together, certainly as long as possible. Now, I will say this for the record, so everybody watching understands. David McKenzie and I have a really good relationship. I asked him to come on this show to talk about this specific topic, and he can't do it. He's in open litigation. He can't say anything about it. Next week, I'm going to have him on and we're going to talk Florida State and Clemson. Sort of a side way into the same topic. But North Carolina politics is the big get here. They're a mess. And all these other schools have control, not only of where the ACC's at and what it does, but also what UNC has the freedom to do. And honestly, what broke the bank last year is what? They fired Coach Mack, and they brought in Bill Belichick without really anybody saying anything. It was a side project, like a super project. Then they snuck him in the side door. Hey, Bill Belichick's our new coach. That's about how quick it went. And that's where this came from, this recent request.
Absolutely. Yeah. And why does this all matter and stuff? Because, if North Carolina happens to escape the ACC, the conference is, as we know it, is no more.
Right.
They are the lifeblood. They're the heart of the ACC. They're the most important domino of the ACC. Florida State and Clemson are the biggest brands, but UNC is the biggest. It's the heart. It's everything. So if UNC goes, the ACC ruptures. And so really, and you're also there with 4 ACC schools. What do you got? All the ACC schools in that territory. So you're just right there. It's ACC land and everything, and it's the biggest brand in that geographic area. It's the most important school. And so when we're talking about ACC, we're really just talking about UNC is the ACC. UNC is the ACC.
Very good. Moen, you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, it's important to keep in mind, too, that University of North Carolina has already settled. I believe there's one settlement for David McKenzie.
Yes, that was last year.
Yeah, to the tune of $25,000.
It was for his legal cost, yeah.
That might be another reason that they're trying to be extra persnickety on what, when the general counsel comes back to him and says, okay, you got to tell us exactly what you want, on what date, on what time. Send it in an email, and then send another email. It's busy work. It's busy work. It's just trying to make it as complicated as they can make it, so that they don't have to provide that information to them. But, North Carolina leaves the ACC. It's called the All Carolina Conference for a reason. You got a lot of public schools there. You got Wake Forest. You got North Carolina State. You've got the private school Duke. Guess what? I'm sure Duke has looked into this, and nobody can get a hold of Duke's records because they're a private school.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that's really, it's a funny joke you say that, but that's exactly right. They are. Wake Forest is as well, I think. And they don't have the pull at the end of the day, it's the pull in the state government that is controlling this, the board of governors. Just last year, they did a ruling and they said, look, no more of this. You're not going to just go out and hire a Bill Belichick. You're not going to have that much power. They dialed back the power that they could do at the individual university. And oh, by the way, there's more North Carolina State grads in the board of governors and in that control than there are Carolina grads. And they don't want to be diminished. And would you?
No.
I wouldn't want BYU to be diminished. I know you wouldn't want Utah to be diminished. Certainly Ohio State's in a different place in time, but no, I would be fighting for it. Everything. I would be Grim Reaper type holding on to stop change, which is why I think it's really brave what he's doing.
Definitely. Yeah, it's definitely unique. Yeah.
Let's do some shout outs, and then we'll get into more topics as we go down in this lawsuit. There's a bunch more to cover, and I definitely want to go through those. But first, let's do some shout outs. Let's do some business here. Ryan Willie in the house first. Good to have you here, Ryan. Hi, College Football Mafia. Good to see you, Ryan. Appreciate it. And right behind that, Moen, what do we got here?
Super chat for Ryan Willie. Nebraska is running scared of playing against SEC teams. You know what? They're not going to have a choice, Badger, because that scheduling agreement is coming. The scheduling agreement's coming, and somebody's going to have to go north and play them Badgers.
Stop it. Moan.
Nebraska continues to just put foot in mouth. I just do not understand what they're
I think
doing.
it's the funniest part of this is the 3 schools they scheduled. If any one of those schools gets a win over Nebraska, it'll be worth it.
Yeah. Well, I'm telling you right now, Nebraska used to coming out of the 90s, Nebraska was one of the biggest brands in the country. Easily top 5, had 3 national championships in the 90s, and was running the roofs. Tom Osborne retires, and the whole thing falls apart. Shows you how quickly your brand can be diminished. It's pretty remarkable, actually. In a generation, you look at Nebraska now, and as an institution, ton of gravitas. As a football playing school,
they've got a fan base.
They do.
There's
no question about that.
GBR.
Yeah, go Big Red. Absolutely. Thank you, Ryan. $5 super chat and member extraordinaire. It's great to have you here. We really appreciate it. Friends call me Sean, checking in, saying everything's building for the next media deals. Yep, the countdown is on. We're a little under 5 years away to the next real negotiating windows opening up. For the first one back at the table is going to be the Big Ten. So we'll have to see what that looks like in a little bit. But it's good to see you, Sean.
That's assuming these media deals do not get extended as part of the negotiations with the SEC and Big Ten.
Okay. Nathan Campbell says, hi, guys. Good to see you. Skaven, yes, checking in. Hello, gentlemen. Go Big Red. Coming from Skaven, yes, in the house. Member extraordinaire. We appreciate you, Skaven, so much. Thanks for being here and representing your school. Tons of respect for that. Bob Swanger, Penn Stater. Good evening, everyone. Good to see you, Bob, another member. Longtime member. We appreciate it. Daniel Kopcha, Twitter friend and member extraordinaire, saying ACC news, yes. Please, Mafia Nation, it's Big Freaking Friday. Daniel, you're a stud. Thank you so much, and we appreciate you being a member. Really, a ton. Daniel Gygax, who's a contributor and a member extraordinaire, saying hi, everyone. Good to see you, Daniel. Let's see. Shonsky checking in, saying hi, everyone. Steele Austin representing the U up on the hill. What's up, College Football Mafia? Good to have you here, Steele. And thank you for your membership. We really appreciate it. Clint Moses checking in for Oregon State. Tar Heels. Ram, or is that supposed to be go, go, go? What is that? I'm guessing
that's got to be goat.
Rams. It's Rams.
Got to be Rams, I think. Anyway, yeah, thank you very much. Great to see you, Clint, of course. Cougar Track checking in. BYU Cougars got a big game tomorrow against Arizona men's basketball. That could be really, really good. The point spreads right now is 7.5 points for Arizona. Arizona is the hottest team in the country. We'll have to see. Good afternoon, folks. Good to see you, Cougar Tracks. We appreciate you. Mr. Ed Wayner checking in, saying, I don't think anything happens with the ACC teams in leaving until 2031 at the earliest. Plenty of time for lawsuits to get settled. Well, obviously that's true. Go ahead, you.
There's plenty of time. Yeah, what's the cost-benefit analysis here for UNC, for Florida State, for Clemson? Every year that goes by, you fall farther behind. There is a penalty to that, where you really cannot recover very quickly if you don't get into the Power 2. Do you have a spot open? UNC does. UNC is the most sought after behind Notre Dame school in realignment, and UNC and Notre Dame have guaranteed spots wherever they want to go. You think you guys would debate that, would you? UNC is either they can choose Big Ten or the SEC. Would you agree with that statement? If they were free, shackle free, they would be able to get into their choice.
I think they're wanted, but I don't think it's going to be UNC's choice to pick. I think one of them's going to decide to bid on, the other one's not. I don't think they're going to go into a free bidding situation.
That's I'm interested in your perspective on that.
Look, yeah. Could UNC would get to pick where they wanted to go, but I think with the Big Ten SEC relationship, the special relationships that is developing, if the SEC desperately wants North Carolina, I think the Big Ten would back off and look elsewhere for expansion candidates. But it's going to be, got to get away from the Wolfpack backpack, man. Got to get that Wolfpack backpack off.
I don't see that happening anytime soon. Becky Go Huskies, another contributor to the College Football Mafia family. Great to have you here, Becky. It's great to see you. Remember, the UNC president told the trustees to stop meddling with athletics. None of this is new. Literally got stopped by the president, as everything goes through him now. Yep, that's what I was talking about. It is now controlled by other people. Jackson Johnson, our contributor and somebody who's helped us doing some moderating on the College Football Mafia Network, saying, "What's up, College Football Mafia Nation?" It's great to see you, Jackson. Thank you so much for tuning in on Twitter. I appreciate that. Pass it on. Get other people on there for us. Go Black 45, one of the best names in our Mafia universe. Hell, I need to make more money. Okay. I think that goes for all of us. I love it. I love it. Let's see. We did that. We did that. I'm just trying to get to all new people. Daniel.
We got a super chat out there.
I'm almost there.
Okay.
Shonsky does have a comment here. Lawsuits never close unless settled. They can stay open for years. The only way the ACC is going to settle is if Florida State says they won't sue. That's why there's no settlement. Yeah, I mean, there's either a ruling or a settlement. Rarely is something just dropped. I don't think they'd drop for nothing. I think they'd get something back to drop their lawsuits. I don't know. I could be wrong, but that would be what I guess. If they're going to do it, they're going to do it for a trade of some sort. Brett Taylor checking in. Good to see you, Brett. Sorry, I just got here. Is David McKenzie suing UNC for information? Yes, he has. That's exactly what it is, Brett. And we're going to get to number 2 here, reason, in just a second, as soon as we're done with our shout outs. But that's what we're talking about tonight. Becky Go Huskies, $5 super chat. This is what the trustees got in trouble for and got limited by the president for. Totally understand now why he limited them. Yeah, it was a little rogue nation going on. Bubba Cunningham was running his own little, like a crypto farm underneath in the basement of the administration building or something, except it was all legal challenges to get out of the ACC. Something like that. Thank you, Becky. We appreciate the $5 super chat. It's great to see you. Let's see. One more follow-up from Brett. I'm confused. I thought McKenzie was one of the ACC attorneys in the lawsuits against FSU and Clemson. Is McKenzie working for the ACC? No. As far as I know, I don't think so.
No, I don't.
He's doing this on his own, Brett. The lawsuit he won last year, got $25,000 for, you just mentioned, that was on his own. He did that Freedom of Information request and caught them trying to slide in a meeting to potentially talk about leaving. So he knows what's going on there. I don't know why they think they can get stuff around him. He's too smart for that. Immaculate. Oh, here we go. Good to see you, Immaculate. Thanks for being here tonight. Follow up to that. It's funny how Mr. McKenzie was dead wrong, and now he is suing them again because they made him look bad by not having all this information public. What do you guys think about that?
I've got no comment on that.
Yeah, I don't either.
I really don't.
Moen, do you have anything down to that?
Listen, Mr. McKenzie, I don't have anything to sue. So, I mean, but I'm not going to make any disparaging comments to the gentleman. I've never met him, never spoke to him, but please don't sue me.
Okay, I like it. Joe Z checking in saying, what SDSU and then do if PAC only gets like $5 million per school? What does SDSU do if the PAC only gets? Well, they don't have. I mean, they're out now. To go back, I don't think the Mountain West would bring them back like they've done the last 2 times.
The Mountain West is getting $3 million a year in media rights payouts.
Yeah,
guys. Let's get real here. It's not like the Mountain West is loaded.
Yeah,
like seriously, the Pac-12 is probably going to get around 9, 10, 11 million per school. They're going to get triple what they've got in the Mountain West. It's going to work out for San Diego State. It really will. Like the Mountain West is they're in trouble, guys. Let's be honest about this. The Mountain West isn't just sitting pretty here. They've got $3 million in media payouts that's guaranteed. That might go down given the brands they lost.
Yes.
Probably will. And so the Mountain West going back there's not an option.
I'm getting to the point where I think the AAC, the Mountain West, and the Pac-12 should all merge. I'm dead serious. I'm dead serious about that. Cut the country in half.
I
Be
think
the
that they
first
should.
super conference.
I think they should explore having a postseason tournament
Okay.
involving their conference champions. I don't know that a full merger is going to work.
Okay.
There's going to
Well,
be too many people. Listen, the West Coast doesn't bring the value the East Coast schools do. So
Right.
merging those conferences, you're going to be devaluing the East Coast schools in favor of some mountain schools. I just don't see the AAC wanting to do anything on that.
okay. I don't know what the total team count would be, but it'd be in the 30s.
Yeah,
So,
it'd be up there.
yeah. I mean, I don't know. I'm still toying around with that. I just finally threw that down today in my head, and I'm like, you know what? None of these other ideas are working. Maybe this will work, but we'll see. It's not coming anytime soon. We know that. See John checking in, saying, "Yo, what's up, fellas? TGIF."
Hey.
Yes, sir. Clint Moses got a bunch of laughs and giggles and skulls, so we know what he's thinking tonight. Let's see here. Scroll down some more. Antoine Johnson. There we go. Hey, everyone. Good to see Antoine. Thanks for your membership. We appreciate it. Ricky Tungate checking in. Always enjoy your show. And PATC, Peek Around the Corner, Greg Flugar. Also, we appreciate you, Ricky. Thank you so much for being here tonight. Getting to the bottom here. Doc Gibbs, an ACC believer.
Doc, it's good to see Doc.
It is good to see Doc. I love when Doc's in our chat. Nothing has or will change insofar as the North Carolina Board of Governors controlling where and under what deals and circumstances anyone, including UNC Chapel Hill, leave. So Moen's comment, better get Wolfpack backpack off or what, Moen?
Get Wolfpack backpack off or get jacked up in court. I mean, this is there's so many graduates from North Carolina State in politics in the state of North Carolina. You can't fight the government, guys. You cannot fight the government. So you can't fight City Hall.
But you can use logic and reason to make compelling arguments. That's stupid to remain in the ACC with the Wolfpack. Sure. You can make a lot more money, and you can even pay an exit fee or a CalFord tax to the Wolfpack every given year to make it more financially advantageous for everybody. Yeah, being in the same conference is a drain on everybody in the whole NC system.
Well, looks like North Carolina better start raining cash on North Carolina State if they want to get free of that backpack.
I would also say this, Doc. It's been a minute since we've had you on. If you want to join the show, I'll shoot you the link and you can hop on your computer or on your phone. I'd love to hear your perspective on this. This is a conversation. All we're doing is reporting the actions that have happened in the last day or so. So if you have more context or you have more content you want to talk about, just put your hand up in the comment section. We'll shoot you the invite. You can join us for a few minutes. But we always enjoy when you're here. Thank you so much for joining us today. People already critical of my super conference idea. Becky says, Bomber talking mega conference. Yes, I'm telling you, I'm toying with it in my head. Yeah, I am. Clint Moses, full merger, too many milkers.
Oh, too many milkers.
Too many milkers.
You know what that means?
Oh, boy.
Milking time. Milking time. You need some milk.
Oh, my God.
The song's gone.
Milk. He needs some milk.
I love it. I love it. Oh, this is so good. You guys are the best. We have the best fans. We have the best contributors to our shows.
Community. Yeah, we got
us and Greg Flugar's Peek Around the Corner, the smartest fans in all of college football social media. That's all I can say. It's good to see Greg in the chat. Good to see Greg here. Nice to see everyone. It's good to see you too, Greg. We know Greg has heard on the grapevine maybe that UNC's got other irons in the fire, and maybe the ACC, it might not come soon, but the settlement might come for Florida State and Clemson. Certainly that's something that is a possibility. We're not closing those possibilities out. I am saying that I am not surprised it didn't happen right away, certainly. I still don't know that they ever will drop those lawsuits, but we'll see. Illini Ted checking in, representing the Big Ten. Good to see you, Illini Ted. Jim Phillips, any publicity is good publicity, probably said. That's probably true. Jim Phillips continues to step on himself with the ACC. I would fire him right now. Greg Guillen saying hi, Mr. Mountaineer, checking in with Daniel Gygax. And I think, and then Tempest is going to round out our shout outs tonight. Tempest, another member of the Mafia family, saying UNC leaves. If FSU and Clemson is definitely gone. My hand is up. Yes, I agree. You?
Oh yeah. If UNC leaves, this boat is broken and sinking. This is the Titanic sinking big time. UNC is that iceberg that could break it all down, guys. It really is the wedge and stuff. So you could lose Florida State and Clemson. It will do a massive number on your media rights, but losing UNC loses your soul. It's the soul of the ACC. It's different. It wouldn't be the same conference at all. So you can't lose them. They're more important than anybody.
Sorry.
Yeah, I think you got it right. It'd be just like a Mortal Kombat fatality. Somebody just reaching in and pulling the heart right out of the ACC and then showing it to them. And then all the spirits would leave their bodies because Notre Dame would not want to stay in a conference without North Carolina. I think they would bounce. And that's going to it's a chain reaction.
Which then, again, to come full circle, is why David McKenzie's fighting as hard as he is
100%.
to support what he is the thing he's passionate about. And you can disagree. Like me and David McKenzie disagree all the time on Twitter, right? We're constantly, if I say something that he takes exception with, he will let me know it's something that's maybe off the reservation. But at the same time, it takes a lot of courage to stand up against giant organizations like a university. I think it is a big deal. And if people want to poo-poo it, fine, I guess go watch a different show. But that's not what we're going to do around here. One last thing before we move on to the next part of this lawsuit. I want to thank everybody for watching. Down at the bottom, you'll see our reader, and it basically is telling you if you're watching us on Twitter, give us a shout and jump over to our YouTube page, College Football Mafia, and hit that subscribe button. We're trying to get our subscription numbers up, and that's one way we do it. And we appreciate everybody that's watching on Twitter right now. Hit that reply button. Give us a comment. Hit the retweet. Give us a like. Those likes on YouTube and Twitter really are the lifeblood of these shows, and we appreciate all of them that we receive. Oh dang it! Something just jumped into my head. I was going to ask you, and now I've lost my train of thought. I can't.
Before we get into more lawsuit information, you guys
go ahead.
Let's take a step back and just talk about why UNC is valuable. I think this
go
gets
ahead.
lost a lot in communities on YouTube and stuff. That realignment communities, especially talking about what could happen. Why is North Carolina valuable? Okay, check it out, guys. This is based on an episode that we put out that was a members only episode last year. It was about UNC and the SEC. And one of the big things is to look at right here is the SEC is comprised of all of the blue area right there on your illustration of the United States and stuff. So the SEC wants to stay regionalized. They don't want to go cross country at this point in time. And so looking at the prospects within the geographic footprint of the SEC, you can see in yellow, you've got New Mexico that's touching Texas, an SEC state, and so on. And the most valuable state that has the biggest brand available that's not already in the Big Ten is right there above South Carolina in the state of North Carolina. So it's a geographic sweet spot for the SEC to hit that, to be contiguous still. Idea one right there. So then also the biggest brand in the state of North Carolina is the UNC Tar Heels. Why are they the biggest brand? Because of Michael Jordan.
Yeah,
let's be honest.
Jump
man. It's because of the basketball. It's not because of football. It's because of the basketball. They're the biggest brand, one of the biggest brands in the ACC based on the basketball history. And then also academically, they align very much with the SEC. They're actually a better academic school than most of the SEC schools, and they're in line definitely with a lot of Big Ten schools. So you're right here in this geographic battleground. And lastly, as Greg Flugar points out all the time, it's one of the highest population growing states, with eligible college-going kids, and we're in an enrollment drop-off in the next 10 years where kids are leaving school. They're not going to college, but in North Carolina, there's going to be a boon of new students in the population.
Aren't
So
they
you're
in
getting,
the like top 3 of demographics change over the next 5 years?
they're definitely
like
top 10. Top 3
Yeah.
sounds reasonable too, but like this is why North Carolina is valuable. It's the geographic territory, right where it's sitting, basically in the right between Big Ten and SEC country, highly populous state, big time brand because of basketball, elite academics. They've got a lot to offer that a lot of other schools don't. And they're the best. UNC is the best candidate in the state of North Carolina. Just wanted to lay that foundation on why we're talking about this. Like, why is North Carolina so desirable? That's why they're going to have an option in the SEC or the Big Ten, and they're going to have their own choice. And Mom, correct me if I'm wrong here, but the Big Ten already swung at North Carolina once and got rejected about 10 years ago, right?
They did, and that's what led Maryland to becoming a Big Ten conference member. And
so we know for a fact that the Big Ten wanted them in the conference 10 years ago.
Absolutely.
And
And you got to remember, too, when that happened, who was the commissioner of the Big Ten Conference? Jim Delaney, who is an alum of North Carolina. And who was the first person Bubba Cunningham called when USC and UCLA went to the Big Ten?
Right.
Jim Delaney.
Yeah.
Very interesting right there. Like, so UNC is going to have their choice. And they're one of 2 schools that will have their choice of the power 2 between the SEC and Big Ten. It's going to be Notre Dame and UNC. There's nobody else that's guaranteed a spot. But probably, like Florida State and Clemson probably might have a landing spot, but no one's certain of that.
Yeah, you can't say guaranteed. Yeah.
Yeah, UNC is basically as guaranteed as it comes. North Carolina is a shoo-in. Those are the 2 that are like the best of the best, the most desirable. And so when we're talking about everything with this show, Carolina Blue and all the secret realignment stuff, the foundation is this, why they're so valuable and why the Big Ten and the SEC both want them. So just needed to lay that foundation.
I appreciate that. Moen, you want to add anything else?
Absolutely. You forgot when you were doing your little promo. If anybody wants to leave us a super chat, super sticker, or become a member of the College Football Mafia, go ahead and click that little cash sign down in the window. Helps us keep the lights on here. Helps make everybody feel good. It'll make you feel like a winner. Winner. And it's Friday night, gentlemen, and I think it's well past due for some Georgia Tech.
Okay,
Georgia Tech.
if you want to
Cheers
Georgia
to you,
Tech
Georgia
it,
Tech.
go for it. I'm going to bring up the lawsuit again so everybody knows what we're talking about. All right, so we're going to go to the second. So this goes in stages. There's several points that David makes here. I want to work through them in detail. I'm going to post a link again to the lawsuit if you want to download it and read it yourself. It's public access. We're just going to go through the highlights. Second point, McKenzie requested all billing documents, including any and all time entries from Skadden. Skadden, again, is the third-party law firm with a deep understanding of Womack. And I don't know, that's some precedent before. But this is what Ute was talking about. In Womack, North Carolina Court of Appeals held that attorney billing records are presumptively public records under the public records law. The court ruled that while specific portions of billing records that reveal privileged materials such as legal advice, strategy, or attorney work product may be redacted, meaning blacked out, such as legal advice, strategy, or attorney work product may be redacted. The invoices themselves must be disclosed in accordance with the public records law. Why is that such a big deal, Ute?
What do you think, Moan?
Well, listen, you got client lawyer privileges,
Right.
but that's a little bit of a stretch there, I think. I think it's a stretch, but it's an interesting defense. I mean, I would put that up first, too. Say, hey, we can't tell you about that because that's top secret stuff between a person and their lawyer. Whether or
But
not
it's not
that
but it's not a person.
it's not a person. You're right.
It's
It's just, but it's still client attorney privilege.
But if you're a resident of North Carolina, don't you feel like you would have every right to have access to that information?
I believe you would. I don't know if North Carolina falls under what's known as the Sunshine State law.
No, I don't think they are Sunshine State. I
So,
think they're just open records.
Yeah. So again, this one might work. That North Carolina might come out smelling like a rose on this one. The one thing that comes out of North Carolina and Duke are a buttload of lawyers.
But
So
that's
Lots.
true. That's true. You, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree with Moan on this one.
Okay. Let's get to the next one. Next one is, this is a two-parter, two different examples. We're going to do them both together and then talk about them. Mackenzie was not shooting in the dark, so he knows things. He was aware that UNC retained Skaden in September 2022 to provide advice and counseling if, as, and when needed regarding commercial issues involving athletics. Let's take that one by itself. I think it's pretty self-explanatory. That one's talking about ACC realignment and potential, right? And 2022 was right in the heart of the Pac-12 saga and everything else. It was it was UNC and UCLA going to the Big Ten. The Big 12 had shakeup. So that was when all that energy came out. So we're just going to let that lie. The second part of it is in response to Mackenzie. So this is what UNC sent back. UNC produced a facade of compliance. I love that word.
Wow.
That's the one pager we referenced. On January 31st, 2025, the so-called production consisted primarily of opaque, high-level monthly invoice summaries containing only boilerplate descriptions of work performed consulting, with no breakdown of time spent on specific tasks, despite its 85 pages of billing statements and one-pagers. 85 pages. The production was devoid of any substantive information actually sought. Not a single time entry, narrative description, or attorney name was included. Just line after line of for professional services rendered, followed by a dollar amount.
Yeah. Hey, look, that's pretty brilliant, guys. Like, anybody that like is really thinking about this and trying to be cloak and dagger, like it's gonna do that kind of stuff. Like, that's smart business right there. Like, I would do it, right?
I think it's a bunch of crap. That's what I think.
What kind of detail did you really think you're going to get? Though?
I think you should be open to. Well, for one thing, the lawsuit
realignment analysis, like data X.
Look, to me, I think that should be available. Certainly, you should know if they're talking about it or not. This doesn't give you anything. There's nothing to go with here. What is the public? How is this serving the public well?
That's.
Hey,
how can you justify this?
Are they
North
lying?
Carolina?
Are they lying? There were professional services that were rendered, and
so
for those professional services, UNC paid these people.
Yeah, but it does not fit within the form and function of what an opens record law would be.
I agree with Mr. McKenzie here on this one, Bomber and stuff. I think that he's not too happy about that either.
I think it's a ridiculous idea that you thought you could get away with that.
Well, they did get away with it.
David is the only one that caught it, right? He's the only one that put in his own time to sort it out. Well, maybe he sent his interns to do it, but somebody did it, right? Somebody went through 85 pages. Can you imagine 85 one-pagers? That means there's 85 meetings or at least requests for consulting time that amounted to, what was the dollar amount? I can't bring this tweet up.
620,000.
600. It's actually 640,000.
Okay.
There was a little extra money. 640,000 for professional services rendered. I just don't know how they thought they could get away with that.
That sounds like something a politician would do if they were given a check to a prostitute.
Yeah, pretty much.
For professional services rendered.
That's exactly the point, Moen. You just hit on it. That's exactly the point. It could be anything. And it did it to the tune of, let's break it down math. You know the math. It was 85 pages, he says. Divide 640,000 by 85 pages. How much is that a page?
It's expensive.
It's expensive.
And all we're getting is line after line of professional services rendered.
It's
line after line after
ridiculous.
Line.
So you guys
it's
might
pretty,
think,
it's pretty amusing, but I can see your point. It's ridiculous.
People watching right now are going to watch this recorded. Look, you might not like what David McKenzie's doing, or you think he's doing it because it's self-serving, or you think he's doing it to support his legal practice or his podcast or whatever he does. Fine. That you guys can believe whatever you want to believe. I don't think that's what this is. I think this is a genuine effort to stay at the forefront of all this information so that my school, whatever his school is, I'm not going to call out, I know what his school is, I'm not going to name it, his school isn't left behind. And if I was in his shoes, I would do, and had the ability, I would do the exact same thing. Because we all know if the ACC fractures, what happens to North Carolina State, Wake Forest, Duke, Syracuse, Boston
The
College?
funny thing is, like, North Carolina State would be fine. That's the crazy thing to me. That's what blows my mind about this whole thing. Is, okay, if you're an NC State fan, yeah, you want to get in the SEC or the Big Ten on a backpack with UNC, but really, your life's not over. Like, your major college sports life isn't over because you have a landing spot in the Big 12. Let's be honest about that. The Big 12 would want NC State. And so it's not as dire as if you're Wake Forest, who's not a public institution. Wake Forest is mega screwed when this thing happens and if UNC gets out. But that's not part of the UNC system of 16, 17 schools that are public schools in the state that they're trying to protect. Wake Forest and Duke are on their own. And so I don't really understand, going back to like the original thought on Wolfpack Backpack, like, why do the local politicians think that's serving like anybody by keeping UNC in the conference and not letting them explore options or get out or pay to get out or even consider getting out and just neuter the power of everybody at UNC? Like, what is that serving anybody? That's not serving NC State, because NC State could go to the Big 12 conference and get a fee paid, some kind of CalFord tax from UNC, and get paid more money. It screws Duke, it screws Wake Forest, but you're not beholden to them anyway. It doesn't do anything to anybody else that's not in the ACC.
Those graduates are in the government, though. They're in the legislature, they're in the board of governors, and that's why it would matter.
So you, in my mind, like, you'd rather be NC State and keep UNC shackled down there, and everybody's just getting lower pay.
Yes.
And like, you're happy about that because you're shackling your rival. Is it that petty?
Yes.
Really? Whereas you can make more money in the Big 12?
I think it's about the ACC disappearing. I think that's the bigger thing they're concerned about. They don't want any part of playing with the Midwest or national conference. You know, the Big 12's offering more money, but this isn't about just money.
It's not like the Big 12's not going to be there. 5, 6, 7
there's no big urgency to make a move. Yeah, I agree with that. One just said. Let me get to
the confusing part. It's like, it's not suicide for NC State. Like, it's really killer for Wake Forest, but they're not in the system. They're not in like the UNC.
The school isn't in the system, but people, the graduates are. The actual human beings are in the board of governors.
But they're beholden to make the best decisions for the public schools. They should not be on any committee if they're biased towards a private institution. There's no way they should be on those committees.
Oh, come on. Everybody's biased, Ute.
Right.
You can't. Who are you going to put in there? People that are emotional eunuchs that went to school on the West Coast? I'm dead serious about that. You can't pull out people's personalities and histories from the job. They'll say they'll be separate and unique, but honestly, they're all going to vote. Everybody votes their own self-interest, don't they?
I'm just making the argument it's best for the entire system of 16, 17 public schools in North Carolina for UNC.
I got you. I understand. Right? You're not wrong. I'm not saying you're wrong at all.
And everyone would make more at the end of the day doing that, in my opinion, too, because you're probably playing tax down to everybody else if you go there, because it's going to be a hefty penalty internally based on the local politics. The only one that's not happy really about it is going to be NC State. And it seems pretty dang petty. Honestly,
I just don't think the petty thing matters.
You know, I don't want to do this. If I say this, it sounds like I'm taking a shot at the Big 12. I'm not. But if you're a North Carolina State graduate right now, and you're looking at your options as clinging to North Carolina with the hopes of maybe getting to the SEC or the Big Ten,
yes,
or having to take
the
Big 12,
yeah,
they want to be with the two big boys. They want to be with Pepsi and Coke.
Just like Utah wanted to be with USC, UCLA.
And that's still going to always be an aspiration for every team in the ACC and the Big 12. We got to be honest about that, right?
Yeah.
That's still the aspiration.
I think you're doing a great job, like doing devil's advocate. That's normally my position, by the way. But in this particular case, this is one guy fighting an entire industry in the state of Carolina and North Carolina. I think that's That's why this is a special thing. This isn't a conglomerate. This is let's assume broadcaster X. Let's assume YouTube wanted to steal UNC and build them up to be just like Notre Dame, be their own brand, their own channel. Dude, that organization suing to find out records and be involved in these things in North Carolina, it's not the same as one guy trying to fight the fight that might be deserved of a bigger organization.
I hear what you're saying, Bomber, but the man did get a settlement check.
Okay, he'll probably get another one. I think
probably get another one.
So
he is not Don Quixote.
I'm not saying he is, but I'm saying it is. Well, wait a second. That's not true. He is Don Quixote. He stopped their hidden board meetings.
And he got money for it. He did, but he also.
But who cares what he got out of it? The whole point was to stop those meetings from happening, and he did it. They don't do it anymore.
And he got paid for it.
And okay, you keep throwing in the money. I don't think the money's not part of it. The money is like, hey, by the way, I put in 5 of my own hours. Pay me for that. It wasn't for a financial settlement. He did that. He did that to stop those meetings from being hidden.
Again, I don't think he's Don Quixote.
Okay, all right. I don't know why we're going down Don Quixote's line, but okay. Becky Go Husky says this is basically stupid Watergate. Which is ironic since it's North Carolina and their Duke law is like international rated. And then Daniel Gygax says the Jerry Springer check when he was the mayor of Cincinnati. That's what it said. Professional services. Services. All right, let's get to the next. I mean, this just goes. It just gets better and better. We're not even into the fun stuff yet. This contention 18, this was not a good faith response, the services rendered response, but a calculated effort to offer superficially responsive yet substantively meaningless documents while withholding the actual records that matter. Ordinarily, McKenzie would challenge such tactics through formal follow-ups. However, UNC's obvious attempt to evade disclosure, coupled with an elaborate UNC Skaden billing access scheme, man, the way he talks about this, it's like it was Watergate, right? Let's see, scheme, I lost myself. Evade disclosure coupled with elaborate UNC Skaden building scheme that conceals relevant documents from public view while allowing the university to exploit them privately necessitates judicial intervention to enforce transparency. Okay, here we go. This is where it gets fun. There was a 4-step process to the plan. These are the 4, and this is where we're going to spend the rest of the show, and then we'll do Q&A. UNC used a 4-step process to approve and pay Skaden. All right. So first, Skaden uploads detailed invoices with time entries and descriptions to a relativity database for UNC's review. It does not email or otherwise deliver the detailed invoices to UNC. Instead, it maintains them on a server belonging to Skaden and running the relativity platform. Skaden does, however, email UNC to notify it that the invoice for the Carolina Blue matter, I love that name, by the way, has been uploaded to the relativity database. And then that's example 3. And now this is the title of the show, the Carolina Blue matter. All right. Second, after receiving the Skaden invoice notice email, defendant Simmons or others acting on her behalf after enter relativity to review the Skaden bill and provide a sign-off. Remind me who Simmons is. Is that the lawyer or is that the president?
I don't know.
Okay. All right. I apologize. I cannot remember the defendant Simmons title. If somebody knows that, can you please put it in the comment section? I want to give credit where credit's due for whoever's doing this. I can't recall. I did read it this afternoon. I've forgotten. Let's see. So yeah. Where am I at? Defendant Simmons or others acting on her behalf enter relativity to review the Skaden bill and provide a sign-off. Third, after receiving UNC's sign-off, Skaden generates the simplified 1-pager version of the invoice. This 1-pager strips out details and provides only top-line information. That's the kind of stuff you do if you want to hide money from the IRS, by the way. And fourth, Skaden sends a 1-pager to UNC, which UNC then processes for payment and ... will release when a FOIA request is made. That's the entire conspiracy right there. And it's not just one party. You got the USC, whoever this Simmons is, you have the law firm, you have the people that are in the middle that are handling the invoicing, and then the creation of the one-pager documents, and then finally the distribution, whenever that happens, of the final invoice, and then any explanations that come with this. So a conspiracy is when you get more than two people together to complete some type of hidden function. And I think this would qualify. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me this isn't a conspiracy to hide information from people like David McKenzie.
Well, yeah, like why are they trying? I mean, I think you've nailed it. Obviously, they're trying to be confidential, discreet, to say the least. It's convoluted. This invoice process is unbelievably convoluted. It's hilarious, actually, how much they're trying to hide. But like, why are they trying to hide it? You know, like David's trying to get them to admit it. We all know what's going on. They're just talking about realignment options and like in looking at the legalities and stuff of ACC. Like it's not, that's what's really going on here, right? Like
yes,
David's just trying to prove that out, but like we all know that. They know that, we know that, you know that. Like, and so it's funny because they're trying to protect themselves, right? And like they've kind of been caught red-handed and everything, and David's calling them out. But really, this is all about just trying to find ways to unloose themselves from the ACC, right?
Moen, yeah.
One argument they could make, this is proprietary information that is proprietary to the Skadden law firm. Maybe they have an algorithm determined. Who knows? But that might be a situation, the reason they have to do it this way. I know from making my own FOIA requests, if you get hit with proprietary information, they do not have to release it to you. It is proprietary information, which could be detrimental if it gets out into the general public.
Tell me what would be an example of in this particular case. What's proprietary?
They could have a legal strategy, that they define as proprietary information.
About legal strategy, then.
Sure, there could be an algorithm there to determine payoff amounts, all this stuff.
So say that
information.
They should say that if that's the case.
Well, they might come back. We don't know what's going to happen with this. They might come back and say, "Hey,
you're right."
Yeah, they might come back and say, "Hey, that's proprietary information that belongs to Skadden and Flom and Jim Jam and every other name that's in that law firm." But I mean, there's about, there's legitimate reasons for this. There are legitimate reasons. Does it look shady? Absolutely. Is it shady? To be determined.
It depends on who you're asking, right? If you're an UNC supporter, it's great.
Right.
If you're
it depends on
what
side of the case you're on.
Yeah.
I think we have to be very careful and understand that we're way on the outside looking in. We're not legally enjoined in this thing. This is David McKenzie versus UNC and whoever else is in that lawsuit. We're only looking at it from a third party's perspective and trying to add analysis. At the end of the day, they're going to have to make up their minds whether this is something they're going to continue to hold off on or they're going to settle with some sort of maybe disclosure of information to just David with no disclosure to the public. I don't know what they're going to do or how those things are settled. It'll be interesting to chase this down once it is taken care of, and David's said he will talk about that once it's done. But I think you said it perfectly, and it's the most succinct way. What are they really trying to hide? Right? Yeah, what is the purpose of this Watergate level of obfuscation of what's going on? Why? What is the reason? And it maybe is because they're right on the edge to having something ready to go. Maybe they've got something worked out where if they just had a little bit more lack of transparency, that they could pull off some deal that would get them ahead. I don't know what it would be, but I think it's extremely naive to just say, "Oh, just take it. That's what it is, and who cares?" They're just legal consultation, doesn't matter, just move down the road. I think that's way too simplistic. I think if I was in David's shoes and I had the ability to do it, I would do the exact same thing if it was happening to BYU.
Well, they're trying. I mean, really, like, who are they trying to hide it from? From
Yeah.
us talking about it, and plus from the system, guys, from like the UNC system of 16, 17 public schools,
Right.
because they don't want them knowing that they're investigating different avenues to get out of the ACC. When we boil it down, there's no other way you'd hide it other than that fact. That's it. There's nothing else that even makes logical sense.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you.
Why else would you hide it? Like,
Yeah,
and so you don't want your peers that are in the system to know about it, and David's calling them out on it. So, and it makes sense because guess what? UNC is the heart of the ACC, and the ACC is totally screwed if UNC leaves. They understand that. They know that. And so it's that important. And they're going to be really careful about every single thing that they do, because the system, the UNC system of 16, 17 schools, public schools, has already neutered their trustees.
Yeah.
There's a battle going on, and the system's taking the autonomy away from the school itself, one of the schools in the system, so they can't even control what's going on. And so they're already limiting their power. Why wouldn't you want to disclose information and not present it? Because they're screwing you already. That's probably what the UNC trustees think about. Like, these guys are screwing us. They're trying to take our autonomy, our decision. They've already taken our decision making. Like, if they find out we're talking about anything, they're going to lose their mind and take more power away from us. I think that's exactly what's going on here. So it makes sense from all sides.
Moen, you want anything else?
They took her jabs.
What? I couldn't hear you.
They took her jabs.
They took our jabs.
Some people in chat will understand that, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't go to that school, so I'm not sure what you're saying there. We had a super chat from Becky in the middle there, $1.99 super chat, saying only if Georgia Tech wins. Georgia Tech, if you're take a drink.
Hey.
One last note, and then we're going to get to Q&A. We're going to go right into feedback with you. Maybe we'll even do some call-ins, not phone calls, unfortunately, but you can join via the comment section and come in through YouTube. Is that they're on record, North Carolina is on record saying they want to move to a higher revenues conference. They're on record. It's not hidden. They've said to the public, our goal is to be somewhere more. Either that means we get major concessions from the ACC, and that's the more, or the more is going to the Big Ten and the SEC.
Right.
They're on public. Everybody knows that, so it's not hidden. Which again, just sort of reinforces what David's saying is everybody knows you're trying to do this anyway. So why the obfuscation? Why hide it?
Because they're neutering them. They're taking their power away so they can't make a move. Like, it's a power struggle, right? And like UNC is like, give us our autonomy. And they're like, no, because then you'll leave us. Like, that's exactly what's going on from the highest level. And so from a UNC perspective, it's got to be so frustrating that your system, who's supposed to be protecting you, supposed to be looking after your best interest, is not, because of the rest of the schools and stuff that could be impacted. But you can make the net argument that it's a win for all, actually, in the end of the day. I would make that argument, given the payouts, the opportunities in the SEC.
Moen?
I concur with what you said.
Okay. Why don't you hit up this super chat from Ryan?
Thumbs up to the Badger overlay. And thanks for not playing the awful milking sounder. Yes. Despite being
I want
evil
that
Badger
sounder.
From Wisconsin, America's Dairyland. He does not like the dairy-based sound effects because it's America.
Arresting me for what? I'm not allowed to stand up for myself? I thought this was America. Huh? Isn't this America? I'm sorry. I thought this was America.
Thank you for the super chat, Ryan.
Thank you, Ryan. Thank you.
I think that's hilarious. Let me just get this into the Twitter space. Give me 1 second. So I can get everybody caught up. We're going into Q&A. Everybody knows how Q&A works, but I'm going to say the rules one more time. If you're a member of the Mafia family, we defer to those comments first. Naturally, they're the ones that are paying us dues, and so we defer to those comments. Super chats take precedence over everybody else. So if you've done a super chat, we will definitely, just like we did here for Ryan, we will read that during the show. We've got about a little over a half hour that we're going to go, and we're about halfway through all the comments that we could possibly read through. So if you want to keep putting regular comments in, do that. We'll flag them as we do normally and try to bring those up in the show. And do everything you can to be a part of what we're doing here on the Big Freaking Friday show. I'm going to post the link. If you would like to join the show for just a couple minutes, they have to be short hits really quick. I just put the link to StreamYard right there in the comment section. Just click it. I didn't see it pop up. Did it not pop up?
It popped up.
Okay. Just click that link. Join us. You don't have to turn on your camera, and just give us a quick hitter. We'll try to get you a comment, and then we'll get you out the door and get to somebody else. If you don't want to do that, we're just going to work backwards through our comments and go from there.
Before we get in the comments, can we just
ahead.
talk a little bit more about North Carolina State? Like,
Sure,
what's
go
the
ahead.
best for North Carolina State? And I want to open it up to you guys too. So North Carolina State, again, you understand the predicament. Like, obviously you've been in the ACC for a long time. You probably love the ACC. You've got a lot of people in local politics. There is economic activity for the ACC that happens a lot in the state of North Carolina. Like, what's your thoughts right now? Like, what are you thinking as a Wolfpack fan, like seeing this garbage that your rival's trying to pull? Like, from that perspective and stuff, like, what are you thinking? And like, really, what are the avenues and what leverage would you put on the situation if you're a Wolfpack fan?
Moen?
Wolves go for the throat, and they don't let go. You hang on to that Tar Heel. You hang on to them.
Yeah.
You hang on to them until you can't hang on any longer.
Okay.
So
My opinion
do
is
whatever it takes. Yeah. Okay. Go ahead.
my opinion is I think it's ACC or die, essentially. I don't think there's a middle ground. I don't think it's about money at this point. I think it's about staying connected to North Carolina.
Do you think they need to be connected to North Carolina?
I don't think it's a need. I think it's the concern that if you're not in the P2, you're quickly to be irrelevant.
Right. But they're not in the P2 today. So, like, it's
But
just like an
see,
entryway to get into the P2.
Yeah, they see their golden ticket. Their golden ticket is North Carolina. They're reading the same tweets and news stories we've been reading for 3 years. They understand the Wolfpack backpack. That's probably propagated through their entire system. They want to be with North Carolina because they know North Carolina. You've both said it tonight. I didn't say guaranteed, but I think North Carolina ends up in one of those two conferences, and they want to be at the head of the table. That's why.
So this is the strategy. This is North Carolina State's P2 strategy, is just to bite the back of the Tar Heel and just hope that you follow them. And that is, they're going to continue doing that until they cannot anymore.
Yeah. Well, I'll ask a question back to you. Do you see another way that could possibly happen?
You know, you guys are nails. Like, it's interesting to hear that and everything, but I could understand if I'm a Wolfpack supporter fan, I'm doing the same thing. I'm doing it, right? Like, that's your ticket. And then, like, the more leverage you put on the situation, the more, if UNC did unbind and detether, they could actually get more payout, likely, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
From some type of tax.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. Jackson Johnson, you wanted to join the show for a couple minutes. What's on your mind?
Just talking a little bit about the possible expansion with you guys. See how's it going tonight?
Doing well. How you doing?
We're doing well. Yeah,
we're doing well, Jackson. By the way, they took her there.
Oh man, that never gets old.
So what's on your mind? Do you have any comment about the North Carolina matter?
Oh, North Carolina will be fine. North Carolina State, I suspect, could get added to the Big 12 when that time comes.
Yeah.
Duke and Wake Forest. I mean, I know Duke's awesome in college basketball, but look how that worked out for the Big East schools in 2011.
Right.
So it's just like, yeah, Connecticut's great basketball, but their football, they only got the 2010 season.
Yeah.
They got smacked off the face of the earth by Oklahoma. So
yeah, it's true. Yeah, what you're saying there. I think UConn and Duke would be two that the Big 12 would center on primarily for their basketball, but that would only happen if the ACC blew up completely.
Yeah.
Right.
I
That's
really
the only way
hope
that
there's
happens.
not any conferences blowing up. Like, that would suck. Like,
That's already
Consolidation
happened,
doesn't
Jackson. I've been
stop.
a part of that one before with the
Yeah.
Pac-12 in
I
its
know,
current.
right?
It's still
just-
around, right?
yeah, the Pac-12 is like a mix of the Big East from 05 to 11 and the WAC after BYU, Utah, TCU left, and then after Boise State left, the WAC.
That's right.
It's just a trash heap, like, because like I keep thinking about the WAC in 2012, where it had Utah State, San Jose State, Louisiana Tech doing all right,
Yes.
but that really wasn't much to brag about, because I mean,
No.
no more Boise, no more Hawaii, no more Fresno or Nevada for that matter. But
And that's what's going to happen if the ACC loses Clemson, Florida State, or North Carolina. Any one of those three.
yeah.
Yeah.
I worry about what it's gonna be like for the Florida State Miami rivalry, because like that's been on my mind, because it's not gonna be like the 90s where Florida State was able to have Miami and Florida on their schedule.
Right.
But at the same time, I'm hoping I'm wrong. I want to see those three schools play each other.
Sure.
But
yeah,
it's like, if it has to be like expansion, let everybody just kind of stay in their same places, like have their rivalries and all that. And I mean, I called the Feinbaum show this afternoon. I talked to him about how this is affecting the Notre Dame USC rivalry. And I know like Patrick Previti at Notre Dame at the Voice of College Football was talking about it. And I suspect you're going to see NBC try to talk Notre Dame into joining the Big Ten. Like when that day does come to where Notre Dame has to join conference, you're going to see Big Ten get them. Because I think NBC is looking at the numbers. I mean, the ratings are higher on Notre Dame Purdue than it was with Notre Dame Florida State.
Yeah.
So I think something like that's going to happen.
Quite possible. We appreciate you joining. Thank you very much. Appreciate your thoughts. Have a great weekend, and thanks again for all the work you do for us.
You're welcome. I'll be staying busy in Voice College Football, and I'll be tuning in to College Football Mafia. Let's get you guys 5,000, man.
I appreciate it. Thank you, Jackson. We definitely want to get there. We appreciate it. Have a great night. Good weekend.
You too. Stay safe. Stay warm. It's cold out.
It is cold out. We'll see you later. All right, let's clap him out.
Jackson is a bad
Jackson.
man. He's a bad man.
I'm a bad man. You hear me?
He's a
All right.
bad man.
Let's get to some comments here. Grateful Trojan checking in. Good to see you. What USC in the house. I love seeing people from the Big Ten joining the show. We appreciate it. Killing me with the South Park, Moen. He's killing you with the South Park.
He gets it.
Let's see here. Glenn Hanna joined the show. Good to see you, Glenn. Forget Saul Goodman. I'm calling Jim Jam.
Yeah, Jim Jam.
Jim Jam.
Well, look, there's like 15 names on your lawyer's office. Damn. Just go by Scadman and Associates.
Some of those names were crazy too.
Yeah,
What
nobody
was that
needs
last
to-
one. Wolp or
I
something
mean,
like that.
what's the sign look like outside their office? Is it just like a
Right, what
black
is- what
long
is that?
sign?
I don't know. But you're right. It is sort of word salad, as it were. Stormy Cyclone checking in. It's good to see you, Stormy. Thank you for being a member of the Mafia family. Motorcycle ride. I'm ready. Stormy and Becky were talking about riding motorcycles.
Yeah, looks like they're getting ready to steal a moped.
Oh boy, not again. Stormy also says, hit the like button and subscribe. That's right, everybody. If you're watching right now on Twitter, make sure you jump over to YouTube, hit the subscribe button on the College Football Mafia Network channel, and help us get to that 5,000 that Jackson was just talking about. We appreciate you out there being a proselyte for us, Stormy. Thank you. It's great to see you. John Dry saying, hey, y'all. People coming in later in the show. We always appreciate that. Let's get to some other names that you could do for names on checks for legal things. How about hookers and cocaine or blackjack?
Yeah, you're not going to find a lot of people who sell cocaine that are going to take a check.
Hookers and
just,
coke.
you know,
They're gonna wait for 60-day billing, 90-day billing,
yes.
right?
Oh,
Put that on a
gosh.
90-day invoice.
No 90-day invoices on hookers and cocaine or blackjack. Okay. Glenn Hanna also gave us a thumbs up. Thank you very much. John Dry, someone said Texas Tech could pull an SMU and pay $1 billion to join the SEC. Texas Tech ain't as desperate as SMU joining the ACC. I don't know about that. I think everybody's desperate. It's just a matter of how desperate. What do you think
Just
about
use
this
the $1
idea
billion
of writing
to invest. Yeah,
$1
be a
billion?
superpower. Yeah,
Why don't you
if you've got
just
$1
build the
billion,
best? You can win a national championship in the Big 12. Build the best brand, the best place to go, the best culture. You will win a national championship in the Big 12. You do not need to join the Big 10 and the SEC to do that.
especially if you've got $1 billion backing.
Exactly.
I don't know what the clearinghouse is going to say about that, though. The clearinghouse is going to prevent you from using.
Well,
all that
third
money.
party NIL. Let's keep it there. All I'm saying is if you invest $1 billion into your football program, you're going to win a lot of games and you're going to have every chance to win a national championship in the Big 12 without the high overhead and all the hassle of changing conferences. So
That's right.
it's all what you're wanting to do. Do you want to win a national championship? Probably easier through the Big 12. That's another thing. So good comment, though. Good comment. Let's see here. Doc Gibbs. I thought Doc was leaving. Doc's hanging around. He's back again. Also, to Moen's point, if NCSU hangs on so that neither they nor UNC go P2, NCSU is no worse off than before if UNC is locked in the ACC. That is exactly right. He is the only he's reframing what you were saying. You're saying you're keeping your schools down. No, Doc's saying we're keeping UNC back.
That's right. You're keeping them in check.
And they're keeping in touch with us. And I could see a strategy formed around that.
It's
Putting
a
that
heavy
car wheel in
backpack.
the pocket.
A very heavy backpack.
But you get
Gold
the
bars in
thought
that
process,
backpack.
right?
Yeah. I mean, it depends on what side you're looking at. You're either like, hey, you can make an argument from both sides. UNC fans' perspective, they're not going to see it this way.
Very fair. Very fair. Thanks for sticking around, Doc. We really appreciate you. Nick Kelso, South Park references. It's a good Friday night.
There you go.
I can tell right now Moen was deep into South Park when it first came
Oh,
out.
I love South Park. I've never missed
Yeah.
an episode. Never missed
Okay,
an episode.
I totally see that now. I'm just going to start calling you Cartman. You are now Cartman.
No, I like to think of myself as the Butters.
You are now Butters is good too.
Yeah.
Cartman is, you're not as obnoxious. I guess Butters is better, but I still like it. Daniel Gygax, UNC Chapel Hill isn't hiding this from Appy State, UNC Wilmington, or East Carolina. They're hiding it from NCSU, Duke, and the rest of the ACC.
They
They're
ain't
hiding it from
hiding
Peter
it.
Hands, who's in charge of the board that oversees all 16, 17 public schools. But they don't care what Duke thinks. Duke's not going to hold UNC back. They'll pay some money to Duke, but Duke's private. They're hiding this from NC State primarily.
Yeah, and they're not hiding anything. It's for professional services rendered, guys. Come on.
Moan.
Let's see. Becky Go Husky says comments render. Oh, there was a comment before that. Sorry. I'm currently billing you all for my comments. And then comments rendered. That's what
That's
Becky
right.
said. That's brilliant. We appreciate you so much, Becky. You bring that edge that we don't necessarily always have on Friday night. Steele Austin, another valuable newer member of the Mafia family. We appreciate everything he's done for us. Really good, great contributor representing the University of Utah. We've already seen this movie play out with Oregon and Washington going to the Big, and Oklahoma going to SEC. All three left behind their in-state rivals with political upheaval over it. The difference is that North Carolina's Board of Governors is incestuous with all their politics. There's laws that have been drawn up. It's not near as bad as it was in Washington, Oregon, or Oklahoma. That's the difference, Steele.
It's the lack of any kind of control of your own destiny on how the local politics are in North Carolina. Guys, I was writing this down, okay? So I know that different podcasts have kind of mentioned this, over the last couple of weeks too, but I'm going to put this in my own words. We're going to sum up right here what North Carolina is dealing with, okay?
Okay.
Like their local political situation,
Okay.
with how many different hands are in the pot. It's difficult. So you've got you got Bubba Cunningham, right? The AD for UNC,
Yeah.
and then he reports up to Lee Roberts, who's the chancellor of UNC. That's pretty common. AD's going right to the chancellor and stuff. No difference there. But then this is where it gets different, okay? Than a lot of other states and local politics. Then Lee Roberts reports up to Peter Hans, who's the UNC system president. He oversees 16 public institutions in the state of North Carolina. So this is where the trustees are no longer have the influence or anything. They have guidance they give to the system and to the school, but they don't have power. It's the UNC system and Peter Hans, who's the head of that, that's making the decisions for the school, for the chancellor of UNC, and for the athletic director of UNC. Peter Hans, now, if you go up and look at Peter Hans, and like there's a board of governors in the UNC system, there's 24 people.
Yep.
In the board of governors that are selected by their local politicians and everything. The board of governors that oversees the entire the system of 16, 17. And lastly, there's 120 members of the House of Representatives and the Senate in the state of North Carolina that dictate the board of governors. So you're going up the chain, and it's getting back to elected politicians in the state. 120 people that are making all the decisions, or they have the ultimate power to make the decisions. And so UNC is beholden to everybody else. They don't even control their own destiny at this. Whereas maybe a Utah and stuff, the system in the state of Utah, there's like 6 schools, right? And so it's a lot easier, more simplified and stuff. There's not many layers. There's a lot of people to have to get on board here if you're trying to get to the SEC for UNC.
We should put an org chart together.
Yeah, no.
And do a I'm serious, to actually say a who's who video. We could do a short 5-7 minute video that says, want to know what the Carolina Boo project is all about? These are all the people that have their hands in the pie before UNC could do anything.
How do you satisfy each level, right? How do you satisfy Peter Hans? How do you satisfy everybody that's in that area? Then all the politicians along the way. You've got to make it so everyone's getting a bite of the apple. And so it's probably a lot of cow for kind of tax that you're going to be paying out to a lot of different schools. But that might be how it gets done.
I think they need to be pushing the ACC dissolution. They're not going to get out on their own just because they're UNC. It would have to take something catastrophic for the ACC. They're not going to pay $500 million to leave. So I don't know. It's just fascinating. That's great. I hadn't heard the whole chain of custody there. That's quite the. We need to do an org chart and we could display that. It's pretty amazing. Becky has joined the show for a couple minutes. What's on your mind, Becky? Good to see you. Good night.
Oh, good seeing you guys.
Hey.
Kind of got home and I was like, oh, I'll jump on.
Excellent. Okay. Give us a quick hitter.
Here you go. What we've been talking about NC State and Clemson and Florida State. But the big dog on the block is still Miami. It was another private school, and is one of those big time brands in the ACC, along with Stanford and Clemson, and they've been the most quiet, as we've seen in the past. The quietest schools are the ones that we should be talking about the most. So just kind of get your guys' thoughts on what you think Miami's up to, since they've just been sitting very quietly pretty much this whole time.
My personal opinion is they don't want to. They've got other people carrying the water, and they're just waiting for it to all shake out. They have they're not agitating to get out because they don't necessarily need to. And there's no rush, right? We've already seen now realignment slow down, and the Big Ten and the SEC are not desperate to pick any other brands up. And you know why? It's because no brands that they could bring on except for Notre Dame, maybe North Carolina, would carry a $70 million a year price tag. There's none of them would do it. So there's North Carolina. Miami's just going to wait for whatever happens to happen, and then they'll make their move. That's my opinion.
I think Miami's slow playing this thing. I think that they've got options at the end of the day. I don't think that SEC is a realistic option, though. I think the Big Ten could be a realistic option for Miami, but it's not a no-brainer. I think UNC and also Notre Dame are the two no-brainers. They're going to get it wherever they want to go, and everybody else might, probably, but there's not 100% guarantee. But I would imagine that Miami is doing their due diligence. In fact, we've talked to Miami Flo many times and everything.
Yeah.
He's a friend of the channel, and he's mentioned that, you know, Miami's not just sitting there idle. They're doing their own considerations and everything, whatever that means. But they're still playing this.
Mowing.
I think they are sitting exactly where they want to be. We did that video about what are the biggest hurdles for Florida State getting into the Big Ten. The fact that there's another top tier school in Florida that could be available. That's the number one hurdle. That is the 800-pound gorilla in the room. Miami is just sitting back and they're waiting to undercut Florida State and get into whatever conference they prefer. I assume they prefer the Big Ten. I don't know that that's going to happen. We'll have to see. But, you know, they could take Florida State's job.
Do you think Miami?
Good.
Yeah. Does Miami have a higher probability of getting into the Big Ten than Florida State?
Right now, yes.
Even with all the Wisconsin trouble, they have a higher chance.
I think between those two, Miami would have the better chance. But I'm still of the mind that I'm not sure I think the Big Ten is going to hold out for Notre Dame and Stanford.
Yeah.
I don't think they go past 20. I really don't.
I tend to agree with you. I think if they can get Notre Dame, they would take Stanford, have 5 teams on the West Coast, and be absolutely ecstatic with it.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Makes sense, guys.
Makes too much sense. All right, guys.
It's great to see you. Have a good weekend, Becky. Hey,
right,
by the
see you,
way,
Becky.
you're doing great work on those short videos. Thank you so much for doing that.
Oh, yeah, no problem. That was fun last night, even though we had to redo it, but it was fun.
Yeah.
Georgia
Moen
Tech.
knows what he's doing.
Georgia Tech.
Georgia Tech. All right, we'll see you later. Have a great weekend.
Bye, guys.
I love having Becky on the show. Always.
That's
always
a great,
thoughtful.
yeah. Like the Miami, we haven't talked a lot about Miami over the last 6 months, but it's fascinating what they're doing because they've got a brand. They've got a top 3 brand, top 4. I guess if you're throwing North Carolina in there, it's Clemson,
Yeah.
Miami, North Carolina, Florida State, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And so they're going to probably have options. Like, I don't know if the SEC, the Moen, you seem to think that Miami might have an avenue to the SEC. I just don't see that
I don't see
as
that
much.
I don't
But
see
for the
that.
Big Ten, I can certainly see it.
Again, we're going to have to figure out where this Big Ten SEC special relationship goes. I think, if anything, the SEC may tell the Big Ten, we don't want you in our backyard. You stay in the North and the West, and we'll control the Southeast, and the Big 12 can have parts and places in between, but just stay out of our backyard. We don't want you there.
And I think big picture, looking down the road, 5 years, 6 years. Again, we said this a million times. I'm going to say my opinion one more time. 3 conferences, 20 teams. Button it up.
Yeah. It could certainly end up that way.
I could easily see that happening. Maybe the Big 12 goes to 24.
I guess I'll push back. Like, okay, the SEC might not want the Big Ten in the backyard, but I don't think the SEC is really in charge anymore. I think it's ESPN and the television partners. I mean, you guys, like, you're puppets, basically. We're all
Yeah,
puppets.
that's fair.
Like the SEC and the Big Ten, you don't do anything. You're beholden to Fox and ESPN, your television
You're
partners,
right.
your money
But
sources. They could care less.
Fox would be ecstatic if they had Notre Dame and Stanford. They would be happy to stop, I think. I don't think they need to go to 21. I don't think they need to go to 22. I don't think they need to go. If you've got Notre Dame and Stanford, I think Stanford makes everybody in the academic world in the Big Ten happy. Notre Dame makes everybody at the media company very, very happy. And everybody gets paid more.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any notion of a defensive play is like a fun idea, but like in practicality to get the money that we're talking about for each school payout, like moving Miami to the SEC and the ESPN payouts is a tough ask. I mean, that's a lot of money per school to get an ad in there, and you're already owning that state. Like,
I don't think
disagree
they
with
need
you.
it.
I don't disagree with you. The ACC may reformulate itself as a smaller conference with schools like Miami.
It's possible.
definitely.
That's entirely
100%.
possible.
Absolutely. That is one of the options. There's no doubt about it. Yeah, that's absolutely true. All right. Another contributor extraordinaire, Daniel Gygax. You got 2 minutes. What's up, man?
Okay. I thoroughly think that UNC stepped in it so bad that they will. I wouldn't say that they're in trouble, but the number of people that will return their phone call right now is low.
What do you mean? Put some context around that.
Well, a lot of it is if there's a lot of political issues in them going into SEC or Big Ten,
Right.
conferences might say, we'll go ahead and take Miami, or we'll take whoever, just due to the fact that there's no political board.
Okay.
But then again, I could be 100% wrong.
Sure. I mean,
Yeah, and you make a great point. Notre Dame and
Yeah.
Stanford, 2 private schools.
very easy
Yep.
to pick up, and there's no muss or fuss.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Daniel, do you think that UNC can untether themselves from NC State? Are they going to go as a pair into whatever conference they end up in, whether that be the ACC, the SEC, or perhaps the Big Ten?
No.
You
Too
think they're
many
separate?
people- I think that the board that runs all of North Carolina schools have dug in and will protect NC State at all costs.
Yeah. Certainly what it appears.
Because they
Well-
saw what happened to Berkeley and UCLA,
Sure.
and they're
That's
going
true.
to protect the little brother.
That's a really good point, actually.
Yeah.
That's right.
Look, at the end of the day, we're dealing with organizations and big entities, but they're all driven by human beings, and human beings
Exactly.
have these bias. They're not going to drop just because they wear a hat at a particular day. People are graduated from different schools. Some people went to Duke Law, but did their undergrad at NC State, and then had a sub out to Wake Forest. Do you think that board of governor guy is going to vote to let UNC do anything? No,
No.
they're not going to do that. So, yeah, that's
And
we
we
can't
and we
forget
do
the
need an
human
org
element.
chart. We do need an org chart to know who is who in this list, because
Agreed.
if you go onto their website,
You and I will take that as a project.
you need a like the old days, whatever they say, you need a program to know who's playing at baseball games.
Right. I've got
Yeah.
a Lucid Chart subscription. We'll go on and we'll put an org chart together, and then we'll do a short video and say, this is an explainer, like a reader, a primer before you get into some of these things, and then people can refer back to it. I think it's a great idea, and it's evergreen.
There's about
Got it.
140 decision makers here, guys. Like when
insane.
you're actually going to the very
Yeah.
top level of like the state
Yeah.
politics and the
We'll
politicians.
do a streamlined run, right? We'll try to do a straight line.
yeah.
But
I've looked at
Close.
their website. Oh God,
It's a mess.
who knows? Yeah, who knows who is running things?
maybe it was inspired, though. All the people at NC State right now are certainly glad it's set up that way,
Oh, exactly.
because
Yeah,
North Carolina would have been gone a long time ago.
exactly.
It's a great point, though. Like I think that UNC should be in conversation here with UCLA on how they approach the situation, because California is going to have entangling political issues too. With
Well,
their
a lot of
schools,
that-
because they're in the same UC system. Cal, Berkeley,
Well, a lot
and
of that
UCLA.
was that UCLA went ahead and did it, and it's easier to ask for forgiveness than ask for permission. So they
Yeah.
went ahead. They joined the Big Ten. Didn't bother calling up the main campus there in Berkeley, which, oh yeah, by the way, they're still listed as a sub-campus if you look at the way that org chart works. And they just left. It wasn't until months later, whenever the whole board got together, that they voted for the Calamoni.
Well, thanks a lot. We appreciate seeing you, Daniel. Thanks for all your hard work, your videos, and everything. We appreciate it.
Yeah, great stuff.
Thanks, guys.
Daniel. Thank you.
You bet. Have a great weekend. Bye. All
Look
right.
at that. The Mountaineer, give him another thumbs up, Mo.
Oh, I love it. That's fantastic. All right, let's do Earl Car 5 gifted membership.
Mhm.
Moen,
All right,
let's
let
go.
me- Hold on here. I gotta find him. Here's the cougar.
You get that going, baby.
There's the BYU Cougar.
There's the cougar. Earl Carr has gifted 5. Count them. 5. 5 memberships to the College Football Mafia family. Those went to fellow BYU guy Cougar Tracks.
Yes, sir.
Michigan Sports 3666, Carson, Aaron Wilson, Jeff Hill. You were all gifted a membership by Earl Carr, that fiery Cougar from BYU. Make sure you thank him in the chat. If you're watching on demand, give him a thank in the comments section. He would appreciate it. And if you've received one of those gifted memberships, Georgia Tech is real and Karma is real. Make sure that you pay that forward.
Karma is real. I live my life based on karma is real. You get what you put out, and paying it forward, we believe in that. So if you did receive a gifted membership, consider paying one forward and giving a gift to somebody else. That's how we keep this thing going. And certainly Earl Carr is the best of all of us. He's probably, I'm going to have to go back and look. He's like the second or third sub of our channel ever. So OG doesn't even describe how long he's been with us. And we're so very grateful for all of his hard work and what he's done for us and his loyalty and everything else. So thank you so much, Earl. It's great to see you. Did we get a sounder and everything done? We did, right?
We did. We gave him his little
Okay.
cougar.
All right. Thanks again, Earl. Have a great weekend. We appreciate it. I'm going to clap him out. Let's get some claps out, eh? All right. There we go. We have a super chat. Trent Brown, my brother's namesake, $4.99, $5 super chat. And this might be my favorite of the day. I know we've had some good ones, but this is, I think, my favorite one of the day. You're going to love it. We were happy to be in the ACC, but tonight we're not. It was stolen from us. The UNC Happy Freaking Friday, y'all. Yes, sir.
Well, I got the perfect sounder for this.
Yes, sir. Trent Brown's a Cougar, by the way.
And now everyone's getting laid off work. They took our jobs. They took our jobs.
Thank you for the super chat, Trent Brown.
Lord.
They certainly took their jobs.
That is so good. That quote will live on in infamy. I will tell you that right now. I love it. Thank you so much, Trent. Great. Have a great weekend, please, for us. Stay safe. BYU plays Arizona this weekend. Huge basketball game in the Big 12. Let's see here. We got a couple more. Whoa, another one. Becky Go Huskies. 5 more memberships.
Becky Go Huskies with the membership.
Wow.
Do you know what I am saying, Becky? That is awesome. That is legitness.
That was legitness. Yeah, it was. Huh?
I'm hyped. And we're going to let you cook.
Yes, sir.
Let her cook.
Let him cook. Let him cook now. Let him cook.
I said
Let her cook.
Let's go.
Mesh Lance, Dustin Flanner, Nate Simons, the architect, Jay Chapman. You were all gifted memberships to the College Football Mafia family from our own capo, Becky Go Huskies. Make sure if you're in the chat, you thank her. I see somebody already did that. That is very cool. And if you're watching on demand, go ahead and leave a like and thank you in that comment. She would appreciate it as much as we appreciate her. Thank you again, Becky Go Huskies.
We have the best viewers. I know we said that at the beginning of every show, but there is no doubt we're impressed every show we do with how much you guys help each other. And these gifted memberships are just amazing. And you're going to have better lives if you're paying it forward. And that's what you're doing right now. Karma is real. Becky's just got herself. Go buy some lottery tickets, Becky. You can fund the College Football Mafia Network can become the Grand Poobah. All right. We've got a few more minutes. Actually, we've got about 4 minutes of comments left. So at this point, obviously, super chats are going to have to carry the day. Otherwise, or gifted memberships.
What about this, though? What about this?
We got another one. Oh, my gosh.
What is 5 more memberships.
Oh, my goodness gracious.
Oh, let's see
Earl
here.
Carr breaking the bank tonight.
He is a mowing man.
Mowing is the word. Mowing is the word. All right? I give you permission on this day to say mowing.
I need to get a hold of Alonzo Highsmith and see if he can record one just for Earl.
Winner.
He is a winner. Winner.
Give him the cougar again. I think he liked that cougar.
You like the cougar? We'll give you a little cougar sound effect.
Yes, sir.
Here it comes.
Woo! That gets
Fearless Brian, Grand
blood going.
Dan, Jeff Morgan, R. Webb, Ron Devick, who were all gifted memberships by Earl Carr,
Oh,
the
wow.
beloved Cougar of College Football Mafia.
Absolutely.
Make sure you thank him in the chat, or go ahead and leave that on the comment section in the in-demand section. I'm sure he would appreciate that. And then we got Becky.
Becky, go Huskies.
She gifted
one
more membership to the College Football Mafia. That went to our friend Tracy FSU.
Excellent.
Good to see you, Tracy FSU. Make sure you thank Becky Go Huskies in the chat for that gifted membership. Becky, it's Friday.
Let's go get drunk.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, thank you so much, all of these new members. Welcome to the club. If you received a new membership, go after the show and go watch our members-only videos. I don't have time to go through all of them. It would be a show in itself just to go through all of our member videos, but they're the best in the business. I challenge you, if you can find any of the videos that we have out as members videos that you don't like, prove to me that it's not of the highest quality, and I'll try to get your money back. I've never seen it done, and it won't happen because we're the best in the business when it comes to those. Wild Ute University's top of top of class when it comes to analytics. Okay, top of breed. That sounds good. Of analytics in college football, realignment numbers, everything to do with North Carolina, all of it, all the realignment we talked about last 3 years. It's all in it. And they're the best videos, and we really, really appreciate it.
All right. Earl Carr, you gave us some good memberships tonight. I'll go ahead and play
that milk.
Yes, I've been waiting for it. Let's go.
This is a new milk sounder. I've only played this, I believe, once.
Which one is it?
We'll put it up there. This is the Udders on Fire.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it's quite pleasant, actually. It's like a gentle tug. Okay, slightly less gentle now. My udders are on fire!
They've been sucking you, and sucking
That's
you.
the one I'm looking for.
I get it.
That's the one I'm talking about, right there.
Earl deserved that.
Yes, he did.
Earl
he paid
that.
for it. You might
say. He earned every bit of both those sounds.
I love it. That you guys are awesome. Thank you so much. You guys.
That was his
payment. Keeps us going.
That was his payment for professional services rendered.
That's right. Professional services rendered. You can put it in your taxes. Put it down. This is what, if you need an invoice from us, we'll generate an invoice for you, Earl, as an investment.
Hey, you know
guys,
who else is here?
Who?
Troll Grinding Cheek
Yes!
Clapper.
Where you been, brother?
Seen in a long time. That's a bad man with a bad username.
We have not seen you forever, man.
Oh, sweet, with USC flipping an Oregon QB commit. Win or lose, I'm a Trojan for life. Luckily, I got a PSU degree too, just in case USC is doing bad. And if both do bad, I just fall back on my hated Notre Dame. I think that's something that we can all appreciate.
I think that's a lifetime achievement award, actually.
That's a sentiment we can all understand.
Yeah, I think so.
Good to see you again, Troll Grinding Cheek.
Absolutely. It's been a minute. By the way, you mentioned a couple names. R. Webb being in the chat. We greatly appreciate our web showing up, and the architect going way back. You guys got to come back and become more frequent again. We're in the off season, and this is when we make hay, and we invite everybody to join us. Look, we had a fantastic Big Freaking Friday show tonight on the College Football Mafia Network. We really appreciate everybody who's watching on Twitter. Do us a favor, jump over to YouTube, look up College Football Mafia Network, and hit that subscribe button. Even consider becoming a member and watching those member videos. We're trying to convert from Twitter to YouTube, and that can be a challenge. So help us out with that. That would really be cool. We would appreciate all that do that. In the meantime, follow us all on Twitter, subscribe on YouTube, and then last but not least, turn on those notifications so you know when our shows and tweets pop up carrying news and notes for all of college sports. Moen, I'm going to give you the first word out.
All right. We got 300 of us watching on Twitter. Like Bomber said, jump on over to the YouTube section. Give us a subscribe. Give us a thumbs up. Leave us a comment. Even if you don't like us, leave us a thumbs down. Leave us a nasty comment. The snarkier, the better. Wild Ute loves snarky comments. Nate loves them too.
I do.
And I have thick skin, so I don't read the comments. Want to thank everybody for coming out tonight. I want to especially thank all the people who were very generous with us tonight, including Ryan Willie, Becky Go Huskies, Earl Carr, Jackson Johnson, Trent Brown, You guys are awesome. You make this so much fun. We'll give you guys made it rain tonight, so we're going to rain a little bit of that. And we're going to remind you that these are still student athletes.
Yes.
Yeah, right.
Are they really?
Brilliant, Zap.
I think pretty soon there won't be one student athlete that actually, unless they want to pursue like an upper graduate degree, they're all going to go to online classes. I think that's where it's going to end up. They're going to end up doing virtual classes. They're not going to have to go to class anymore. That's where we're going to end up. I'm not sure how soon, but like right now at BYU Pathways, if the students wanted to, they could just go all online and get a degree.
Well, wait a second. Your guys' football players go to classes?
Yeah, you're so funny. Yes, they do.
Mine are out there winning national championships.
Top 10 undergrad in the country, brother. So, all right, we're going to wrap this up. Ute, final words.
Will UNC leave the ACC? That's the title of the show. You know, we talked a lot about every angle of what the North Carolina problem is, how desirable they are, why they're desirable is because of brand, geographics, population, student population, and the basketball history. The battle that's going on right now with the UNC, with the 16 other schools, Peter Hansen in the region and everything. It's a huge battle internally and everything. NC State, the Wolfpack backpack, and they de-severed that to get into the Big Ten and the SEC. We think, at least Mona and I think they have options in either one of those. They're one of the more attractive realignment candidates. NC State's digging in for dear life. They don't want the ACC to rupture. UNC is the heart of the ACC. Will it happen? We will find out. Eventually, it probably will, guys, unless the ACC just can miraculously double the payouts over the next 10 years, which doesn't look possible. It's just a matter of time.
And I echo what both Moen and Ute have said. All we know is that whatever happens in the North Carolina school system, David McKenzie's going to be there campusing all their work. So trying to sneak anything by that guy is a fool's errand. You might as well not even try anymore. Just put it out there. And I would say this, make it public. You've already told everybody you want to go to a more valuable conference. Just put it on a stake post. Put it out by the North Carolina Cougar out in front, right? Or Chapel Hill, out on the sign, right there, right next to Jordan. Put up a big sign that says, yes, we want the Big Ten or the SEC. And then just be open about it. Who cares? It's not like it's some big secret. So
just make sure you send your application with NC State too. Make sure you staple NC State's application in the back.
Actually,
that's the only thing, right?
This is what happened is they'll put the application in the mail, and then an NC State grad or fan will break that open, stick that thing together with some Bondo
stapler
and staple it, put it right back in, and then send it in. Yeah. All right, everybody. I hope you have a great night. We had a ton of fun. Thank you for being here. Next show is on Sunday night, Moen.
Sunday night, Moen After Dark with myself and Rock and Rant. We will be taking your comments, questions, maybe do some call-ins. Also, we have a new Big Ten Mafia. It's going to be a 3-part video. Becky, myself, and Sergeant Pickles, we all went through and graded all the coordinator hirings and firings that happened in the Big Ten this offseason. So stay tuned. I'm just going to start editing that tonight, and that should be out at some point this weekend. So check it out.
I love it. And then our next show will be after that Tuesday night. I'm going to have a show with David McKenzie, and we're not going to talk North Carolina, but we will talk Clemson, Florida State, and their ongoing lawsuits. And that means a lot to a lot of people. And tune in for that. That'll be 8 p.m. Eastern time. And it should be a lot of fun. I hope you come and try to get some education. Maybe ask some questions to David. Try to get into his head what he's actually trying to attain in all of his FOIA requests. So other than that, I want you to have a great and safe weekend. Make sure you get with your family, spend time with those that are maybe in need. And if you get prompted to send that friend or family member a tweet that you haven't, not a tweet, a text or a call that you haven't talked to in a while, take that prompting and take a few minutes to do that, because it's usually for a good reason. We appreciate it very much. Everybody have a continued wonderful weekend, and we will see you next time. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.